Hello everyone, this is Paula from cropnotesandcrafts.blogspot.com, and today I wanted to show you how that I made this tag and give you some more details on it. I started with a standard tag that I picked up from an office supply store. They look like this, and then I tea dyed them. Some of them I just did a standard tea dye, and then this tag would be the end result of that, what that wound up looking like. And then some of them I spotted, and this is what the spotted tag looks like at the end. It's you know, looks a little strange here, but once you glimmer mist and decorate, it's really more difficult to see the spotting, and this gives it just a little bit more of a vintage and aged feel. And then some of the tags I actually did a lot of spotting, and this is what it looks like. You can see that it's much darker through here where all that spotting is, and that looks very interesting too. So this is what the tags look like, depending on whether or not it was just tea stained or spotted. I started by stamping, and I just used my Stays-On ink because I wanted a permanent ink, because I was going to glimmer mist, so we don't want any of the ink to smear. And the first thing that I did is I stamped the pen. And the stamps that I'm using today are all from Scrollworks stamps, and the pen is looks like 3005 is the number for the pen, and the stamps are 3036, and then the background stamp, that's called Background Words, is 7105, and you can find those at scrollworks.com. So first I stamped the pen image, and then I made a mask of the pen image and put some repositionable glue on the back of this, cut it out, and once I stamped the pen image, then I masked. Just put this right down on top there, and then I went in with the word stamps and stamped my words. Then I went in with the stamps and did a little stamping with those. Once I had all my stamping finished, I went in with my homemade glimmer mist, and I used a gold, which I used Stampin' Up! More Mustard ink with Aztec Gold Pearl-Ex, and so I spritzed that on, and then I also used a blue homemade Pearl-Ex glimmer mist that I made, and this was made by using Pearl-Ex Duo Blue Green, and then I used some Folk Art Metallic Blue Sapphire paint. So I mixed these together with I can't think of what it's called, with the gum, and made my glimmer mist. So I spritzed that, dried it. Then the image of the Victorian woman is a piece of vintage clip art that I picked up off the internet, and I'm not sure whose website I picked that up from. I just remember that she deals with a lot of vintage and Victorian images. But anyway, I downloaded this from her blog. I downsized it so that it would fit on my tag nicely. Cut them out, attached it to my tag. Nothing special here. This is just with a copy paper. I didn't even use cardstock. Once I glued the image down, then I went across the image with the Crystal Effects, and so that I would have some shine and sheen. I thought that would be nice. If you can see that. And then the The lace that I used came from the fabric store. This came from Joann's. And I glimmer misted that to make it look old. And attach that. And then I also used some of the Ranger Distress ink, the tea dye. I used a little of that on the tag. I used a little of my homemade glimmer mist, and I used this ink. Oh, and I also used the tea dye around the edge of the tag. Once I had that applied, then I went in and added my feathers. Here's my bag of feathers I picked up. I think I picked these up at Joann, the fabric store. And so I added a couple little feathers over here. And then the flowers, I colored those. They were part of this package that I picked up at Michael's. That's what those look like. They were white. And then I colored those with Stampin' Up! Brocade Blue. And then I put a little of the tea dye on top there also. And then I curled the petals before I glued them down so that there's some dimension. And I used 2 flowers and just offset them. Then I glued on a pearl. And then for the embellishments, I went ahead and put some fibers on here, and I took this is the string that was in the tag, and it's, you know, it was tea dyed, so I went ahead and put that in along with some of this eyelash yarn, and I think I used about 4 pieces of this, and then I used a piece of this black fiber. That's what that looked like. Put my fibers in there, and then I added this little perfume charm here, and that was part of the Madame Delphine's from Michael's. That came from this pack. And then the pearls, I just put these on, I took some brass wire, and I just wired those on. And then I made this little charm out of a head pin and some beads that I had. And then I attached all that to this ring. I'm going to take this off so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so I've got this ring that everything is attached to, and I just slid that on there. Let's see. Those were from Derice, and they're called they're 6mm double rings. So I put all of my charms onto that double ring, and then I attached it to this lobster claw clasp. That's a piece of jewelry findings. And then attach that to the fibers here to the front of the tag. I think that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know. And if this was helpful, leave me a message and let me know that too. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.